Top newspapers quoting unnamed sources are saying President Trump is privately suggesting that the infamous Access Hollywood tape may have been doctored. The pundits are plunging into crazy talk.
The President of the United States genuinely appears to be losing his grip on reality.
Did he at some point lose that awareness? Did he at some point start believing in the fake reality that he creates?
Questioning President Trump's mental fitness for office is becoming a vicious, relentless obsession of the left.
Molly Hemingway, this is based on reports in the New York Times and Washington Post, also saying that privately the president still questions Barack Obama's birth certificate. And then you have Washington Post. Trump simply rejects facts as he spins a new reality. What do you make of this sort of intensified media chatter?
Right. There's almost like a cycle to this, though. We heard this in January. We hear it again a few months later. And it seems to be part of a campaign to undermine the president as opposed to well-reasoned analysis. I mean, these are frequently...
A campaign based on leaks, by the way. Somebody is telling reporters this.
Right. Well, it's a campaign based on anonymous leaks, so it's very difficult to determine how much to take seriously this conversation. But in general, it's people who haven't accepted the reality of Donald Trump winning the election who are making this claim. And nobody should really be evaluating other people's mental health, but particularly not people who are still struggling to accept reality a year after it happened.
Well, I agree that some of this goes too far, but on the other hand, if the president is saying things privately that contradict, for example, everybody knows it is his voice.
Right.
He apologized for the Access Hollywood tape.
He said it was
Billy
him.
Bush got fired. He said it was him. So what do you make of the commentary part of this?
So I think these are some fair questions to ask, particularly if it's about something like, is he fully aware or, coming to grips with how serious the Russia investigation is? Things like that. This question of if he really understands the severity of things. It needs to be done very carefully, though, because it is a very sensitive issue. We can't evaluate someone's mental health from far away on television, but it is.
That hasn't stopped a lot of people.
Well, that hasn't stopped people. But it's a fair. I think there are fair questions to ask. How the president sees what's happening in this country, how he sees policy issues, how he looks at certain things. That is fair, but it needs to be done very carefully.
All right, so one of those questioning the media's coverage on this very point is Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. Let's take a look at that and also what he had to say as presidential candidate Lindsey Graham in 2016.
You know what concerns me about the American press is this endless attempt to label the guy as some kind of kook, not fit to be president. He did win, by the way.
I'm not going to try to get into the mind of Donald Trump because I don't think there's a whole lot of space there. I think he's a kook. I think he's crazy. I think he's unfit for office.
Shelby.
I mean, those back-to-back clips just say it all. I think generally there is a lot of hypocrisy, not just in the media, but on Capitol Hill. People have questioned Donald Trump's mental state since the beginning of the campaign. I don't necessarily think it's productive. We know that Donald Trump is a man who likes to craft his own narratives, craft his own reality, try to convince other people that what he says is truth, even if it's not. But we also know Donald Trump likes to joke around. And it's hard. I think the big nugget of this story is the leaks. Are the people inside of the White House leaking this information because they're genuinely worried about his mental state?
Yeah.
Or is he just joking around in media?
Or for their own agendas. And also,
not that those jokes would be appropriate, but
right. President also
it's
taking
hard
a lot
to
of
know.
heat for retweeting these anti-Muslim videos from a British far-right party that upset Prime Minister Theresa May.